All right, today we're breaking down an absolute classic, the 2063 Monty Brewster Memorial Series. We're talking 7 epic games between the Nashville Bluebirds and the Charm City Jimmies. You had 2 absolute powerhouses, 2 totally different game plans, and a championship that went right down to the wire. Let's get into it. You know, this wasn't just any old championship. It was a clash of titans. Before it even started, one lead GM said these teams were a case study on how to build a champion. And man, was he right. Both clubs were all about pitching and defense, backed by solid offenses. It really set the stage for a true baseball chess match.
So let's take a look at the matchup itself. On paper, these two teams were destined to clash, but the way they were built couldn't be more different.
And this is where things get really interesting. You had Charm City, who came to the dance with a dominant, all left-handed starting rotation, just lefty after lefty. Nashville's response? They went old school. They built a lineup designed to absolutely mash left-handed pitching, and then they stacked their own rotation with nothing but righties. So every single game was this high-stakes, strategic battle.
Okay, real quick, there's one stat you gotta know to get the full picture. WRC+. All it does is measure how good a hitter is, and it adjusts for stuff like what ballpark they play in. The important part is this: 100 is average. Anything over that is good. And trust me, both these teams had plenty of guys way over 100.
And when you look at the whole picture, you see just how evenly matched they were. Offense, a toss-up. Defense, also a toss-up. We're talking the number 1 and number 2 defenses in the entire league. Charm City seemed to have a slight edge at catcher with Edgardo Reyes, and definitely in the bullpen with their lights-out closer, Evgeny Pardica. But honestly, the series was just too close to call.
And that pre-series analysis? It turned out to be dead on. The first 4 games were this brutal back-and-forth slugfest that had the whole baseball world watching. It was a heavyweight fight from the very first pitch. Charm City takes Game 1 at home, a classic 3-2 pitchers duel. Then, Nashville comes roaring back in Game 2 with a 12-7 beatdown. The Bluebirds keep that momentum going, stealing home field advantage with a gritty 1-0 win in Game 3. But just when you think Nashville's in control, bam, the Jimmies punch right back in Game 4 to tie it all up. And can we just talk about that Game 2 for a second? 7 home runs. In a series that was mostly about great pitching, this game was just a wild offensive explosion. It was a huge reminder of just how dangerous that Nashville lineup could be when they got the matchups they wanted. So, after 4 incredibly tough games, what do we have? A dead heat. 2 wins apiece. We're right back where we started, and the championship is now a best-of-3 series. Game 5 just became the biggest game of the year. And what a game it was. Game 5 would go down in history. It became the defining moment of the entire series, all thanks to one of the most unbelievable comebacks you will ever see.
All right, so picture this. It's the bottom of the 8th inning in Nashville. The hometown Bluebirds are down 5-2. They are just 6 outs away from losing the game, going down 3-2 in the series, and having to fly back to Charm City on the brink of elimination. It was looking grim, really grim. And then, the floodgates just opened. A single by Fernando Hawkins makes it 5-3. Then Lucas McNeil Jr. comes up and rips a double that ties the game, and the place goes absolutely nuts. The very next batter, future series MVP Alfonso Gonzalez, hits another double to give them the lead. And before Charm City even knew it hit them, Fernando Sanchez singles to drive in 2 more. A 6-run inning, just like that. Nashville flipped a 3-run deficit into a 3-run lead. They closed it out in the 9th, and suddenly they were just 1 single win away from a championship. For Charm City, it was an absolutely soul-crushing turn of events. But you can't count out a team like the Jimmies. They weren't going down without a fight. The series went back to their park for Game 6, with their backs completely against the wall. You know, this is what October baseball is all about. As one fan on the forums pointed out, one big swing can change everything. Think about Kirk Gibson. Think about Joe Carter. Those are the legendary moments that define a series. And in Games 6 and 7, we got to see that kind of magic happen all over again. So, back at home and facing elimination, the Jimmies played with the heart of a champion.
They were brilliant, winning 5-1. And the dagger came in the 8th inning when their slugger, Arturo Perez, launched a clutch 2-run homer that put the game on ice. Charm City simply refused to quit, and they forced a winner-take-all Game 7.
So this was it. One game for all the marbles. Every pitch, every swing, every play completely magnified. The only question left was who was going to be the hero? Who would seize the moment?
Well, we didn't have to wait very long for an answer. Top of the first inning of Game 7, a runner on base. Nashville's Carter Kramer gets a pitch he can handle and absolutely crushes a 2-run homer. It just silenced the home crowd. It was the ultimate payoff for Nashville's entire strategy. A right-handed bat taking a lefty deep for a lead they would never, ever give back. And after that first inning homer, Nashville's pitching staff just took over. They completely shut down the Jimmies lineup, tacked on a couple more runs, and sealed the championship with a dominant 4-0 shutout. On the road, in Game 7, just wow. And with that final out, the celebration was on. After a long, grueling season and one of the best 7-game series you'll ever see, a champion was finally crowned. And so, it's official. For the 7th time in their history, the Nashville Bluebirds are the champions of the Brewster Baseball Association.
And the series MVP? Of course, it had to be their superstar right fielder, Alfonso Gonzalez. The guy was an absolute monster the entire series, but no hit was bigger than that go-ahead double in the legendary Game 5 rally.
And the numbers? Oh, they don't lie. Look, Charm City's Arturo Perez was fantastic. 3 homers, including that huge one in Game 6. But Gonzalez was just on another planet, hitting nearly 300, 4 home runs, and driving in a ridiculous 11 runs in 7 games. That, my friends, is an MVP performance.
So what's the big takeaway here? We just watched an all-time classic, a 7-game war between 2 incredible ball clubs. But it leaves us with a huge question going forward. For Nashville, with their 7th title, is this the start of a new dynasty? And for Charm City, with their veteran core, was this a heroic last stand, or can they retool for one more run? I guess that's a story for next season. Thanks for watching.